Welcome to the Oil and Gas Report, brought to you by Katch. I'm your host, Rob Hislop. We have moved all our equipment out of our Edmonton-based studio and have headed over to Vancouver. We're in this city for the Globe 2012 conference. Now, in case you're not familiar with it, it's something that's actually been around for quite a while. It started back in 1990 and goes every 2 years. What it does is it brings together leaders of industry, all sorts of people from various industries, and they're talking about trying to make the world a better place. We've been fortunate enough to land a lot of interviews, corporate executives, international agencies, urban leaders, financial executives as well, government policymakers, as well as environmental industry executives. Of course, being from Alberta, we've got a lot of oil sands representation as well. And again, this is the Globe 2012 conference. It's held in March in Vancouver. The theme this year, building a sustainable economy for the 21st century. Joining us right now, we've got Russell Koehler with Cenovus Energy. Russell, thanks very much for joining us.
You're quite welcome.
Tell us a little bit, like everybody else that we seem to be running in here, the business card has a title that goes on and on and on, and you're one of those as well.
Yes.
Tell us what you do with Cenovus.
I'm responsible for producing our annual corporate responsibility report. Cenovus is a relatively new company. We split off from Encana December 1st, 2009. We issued a small highlights report later on in 2010, and then last year we issued our first comprehensive corporate responsibility report. We reported on about 70 indicators in the areas of economic, environment, and social.
So when you're talking about a corporate responsibility report, a little bit more specific for people who may not be familiar with the term.
It's non-financial reporting really is the best way to describe it. You have your annual financial report, which gets issued and it details all your financial highlights. The corporate responsibility report delves deeper into a company by measuring your environmental impact, your health and safety, your community investment. So what it does, it gives stakeholders, both employees and externally outside the company, the ability to learn more about your company.
Okay, as opposed to just numbers.
Yes, exactly. So if you want to know, what Cenovus does in the communities we operate, if you want to know our water use, if you want to know, how we handle health and safety, how we handle the environment, Aboriginal relations, even we get into the governance structure of Cenovus.
Okay.
So it's a broader scope of the company's operations.
So, as an outsider, would I look at this and go, wow, there is such openness here, I understand everything, or are there some things that still don't quite make it into the report? Or, because if you had a major, say, an environmental problem, would you be putting that in the report as well?
You would be expected to. For example, BP, with their spill, their following report, their stakeholders would definitely be looking at, their response and how they communicated that to everybody. And with Cenovus, it's not just, you don't want it to be, kind of a feel-good document, a communications piece. What it really has to do is it has to address the challenges, especially, for us, we're an oil sands operator. So what are we doing, in our operations to deal with, the greenhouse gas emissions and the water use and the land footprint? And so you recognize you try and have an open and transparent dialogue with your stakeholders, and you do that through your corporate responsibility report. So you lay it all on the table. This is our emissions use. This is our water use. These are our emissions. This is how we operate on an annual basis. And these are the challenges that we're going to face. For example, Cenovus, we have a pretty aggressive growth strategy. So we recognize, with that comes increased emissions and increased water use. So what we want to do is try and become as efficient as possible.
Okay. With something like that, would you put in, because one of the problems that Alberta is facing is a lot of abandoned or orphaned well sites as well. Is that something that you would put in your report and talk about how these things are going to be cleaned up, or is that not an area? Because you are relatively new.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, we last year's report we included a Reclamation 101, we called it. So it was a little highlight segment in a report which discussed, how we deal with the reclamation process for those that may not understand it too well. So the whole abandonment and then reclamation and then a final issue of certification.
Is this something you guys are dealing with right now from your report? What would you have said in that about this particular issue?
Well, for us, that's on the conventional oil side. So we would touch on it, but mainly we're focused in the oil sands. So that's the area we'd probably highlight in a report. We would also talk about if there's any reclamation issues. If there's anything that the stakeholders, they come to us. We do a stakeholder engagement session. So we want to hear from them what they feel the issues are that we should be dealing with. So we sort of group reclamation with biodiversity.
Okay. When you're talking about sustainability, and obviously Cenovus wants to be around for a long time, right? And it seems like in today's society, you have to be a responsible citizen, perhaps a little bit more than in the past as well.
Yes.
When it comes to making improvements to your site to make it more environmentally friendly or to improve worker safety, are these expenses that companies readily walk into, or would it be something that you would have to be coaxed into? Because sometimes you put money out at the front, you may not see a return on that for a while.
Yes.
So how would Cenovus deal with something like that?
We integrate environmental and safety considerations into all of our project planning. So those costs are identified up front and they're factored into the lifetime of a project. And for us, we don't feel that safety and environment are extra costs. That's just the cost of doing business, and that's the cost of doing business responsibly.
Do you find that you set yourself apart from other companies in the oil sands, or is this the way the industry's going?
It seems to be the way the industry's going. We look to our peers in terms of best practices and to see what they're doing, but we really see ourselves as a very innovative company, using technology to drive efficiency, reduce costs, reduce impact on the environment.
One thing, we were talking to somebody who works with Renew Canada, which of course looks at the environment, water and all that sort of stuff, doesn't quite focus as much on the oil sands, but she says when she comes to a conference like Globe 2012, she sees a lot of innovation. There are a lot of wonderful products here. She just wonders why it seems to take so long for them to make it into the industry. What are your thoughts on that? Any ideas to why that would be?
Well, I think for us, we're always identifying, new technologies. We have a pretty robust research and development group, and we're looking at, over say 60 research and technology projects, on an annual basis, and we would like to commercialize about one a year. So I feel, we do a pretty good job at bringing in new technology. SAGD, for example, was pioneered in the last 15 years, primarily by Cenovus.
Okay. So your company, you feel, is doing something like that, and,
yes.
and using that technology.
Yeah.
But that I would think would be something that a lot of companies might need to get a little bit of a push on. Would you not think so? I'm talking clean energy and all that sort of
clean
stuff.
Energy. Yeah, I can't comment on the strategies of other companies, but I guess you could see these technologies are quite expensive. We're talking about 40-year project lifetime, billions of dollars of capital investment. So in order for a company to invest in that technology for a project, I guess it has to go through the trial basis, right, and be proven.
And I guess that's also where sustainability comes in. If you want to be able to sustain your business, you're going to take a closer look at these products.
Yes. And I know for us, we look at products and technology that's going to increase the efficiency of our operations, which will lower costs and lower the impact in the environment.
Last question for you. We were talking to the Dutch Consul General, and he said one of the problems with the oil sands is the PR image. And, or I guess the image, it's the PR that's lacking.
Yes.
Do you think with the type of reporting that you're doing now, that would be able to change that?
That's what we're attempting to do through our core responsibility reporting, as well as our commercials. We want to educate the public about what Cenovus is, our operations in Alberta as well as Saskatchewan, and just let people know what kind of company we are.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much, Russell.
You're welcome.
We've been chatting with Russell Koehler with Cenovus.